With the Halloween season fast approaching, I decided my next platinum would have to keep with the times and be something creepy. So I went and revisited Until Dawn, the original PS4 version and no the remake, because that's $50 and I'm broker than your local crackhead. I played this game once way back in 2021, during which I got one trophy, the Psychopath, for giving the attacker a taste of his own medicine. Other than that, we've still got 18 other trophies to get, and it should take us around 15 hours, and even though the guide says one playthrough, it's technically two, as you need multiple endings, but thankfully chapter selects a thing, so we can use that to know if to play the whole game again. Most of the trophies in Until Dawn are decision based and ending based, but there's 4 types of collectibles that we'll need to find along the way. The game was released in 2015, so unless you've been living under a rock for the last decade, you'll know all about it, but if no, here's a brief description. Play God. For the first playthrough, I wanted to get the trophy They All Live, as this would also get 3 others simultaneously. The Quicker Man for keeping the boys alive, 4 Daughters of Darkness for keeping the girls alive, and Don't Scare Jessica to Death for keeping her alive. Now with all that out of the way, the game opens with an epilogue of events the year prior to when the main game takes place. A group of friends are taking their annual vacation at the Washington Family Lodge up on Blackwood Mountain, during which a prank is played on Hannah, which results in her getting embarrassed and fleeing into the woods. Her sister Beth chases after her and finds the first collectible we'll be looking for, a totem. These are scattered throughout each of the 10 chapters, and they give us a small clip about what could potentially lie ahead based on the choices we make. After peering into the future, she finds Hannah, but the two are pursued by something and they both fall off a cliff and it's game over for them. Fast forward 1 year, and chapter 1 begins with Josh, Hannah and Beth's brother, has invited everyone else back to the lodge to honour his sisters. This chapter is basically just everyone being introduced to the player and making their way to the lodge so we can get an insight to each of them and their relationships with the others, which we can also help establish by making some minor choices. We also find the first collectible here for the Mystery Man clue group. I won't show every collectible because this isn't a guide, but if you do need one, there's loads of good ones out there. Also, between chapters, we have what seems to be a therapy session with John Abruzzi for Prison Break, and he asks us questions about our own fears so that the game can cater to them. So naturally, I pick truthful answers for a more immersive experience. Oh hell no! At the beginning of chapter 2, we need to find a way into the lodge as the lock on the front door is frozen. So we find an open window and our man here, Chris, climbs through. He has a nose around the lodge, which also makes a start on another clue chain, the twins, before getting upstairs to get a can of deodorant to use as a makeshift flamethrower to melt the frozen lock and get everyone in out the cold. Once in the lodge, the tensions start to rise between the loved up teens, so Mike and Jessica decide to go look for a cabin that's nearby so they can be alone and do some grown up stuff together. On the way there, Jessica falls into a mine. Mike, being a big hero, follows her down and it's revealed that they are being watched. While in this mine, we find the first collectible of the last set, the 1952 clues. As they make their way to the cabin, Sam wants to jump in a bath, but the hot water is off, so Josh accompanies her down to the basement to fire up the boiler when they start to hear strange noises, but it's just Chris being a big child. We also play as Matt accompanying his girlfriend Emily to find her bag that she left at the cable car station. Emily sucked, by the way. Total cow. The chapter 3 opening has Josh, Chris and Ashley playing with a Ouija board that Chris found down in the basement, and they believe that they contact one of the unfortunate sisters that slipped and fell the year before. Mike and Jessica finally make it to the cabin we were talking about, and Jessica has Mike be her servant by doing a couple things to set the mood, so to speak, before Karma smacks her clean in the jaw and she's abducted right out the front door. We then jump to Chris and Ashley, who are looking around the house after Josh ran off due to the Ouija board situation. While looking around, they find a bunch of unsettling stuff before going into the kitchen and get knocked out by a masked psycho. Now, chapter 4 is where things really start to escalate, as our decisions for this chapter going forward are crucial to ensuring everyone's survival for the They All Live trophy, as well as others that I mentioned earlier. The first character whose fate is in our hands is Jessica. After her abduction, Mike chases after her, and while doing this, I had to take every quick/risky route and not miss a single QTE, otherwise Jessica is humped. He eventually finds her lying in an elevator shaft in the mines before it collapses, and he's forced to climb up towards the mysterious person and follow him. We then jump back to Chris and his search for Ashley, who he eventually finds in the shed alongside Josh in a saw-like trap, and he must decide who to save. This choice doesn't actually affect the endgame, and I'll explain why later, but for now I chose to save Ashley.
No! Ah! Stop it! You can't do this! Please!
Chris and Ashley then bump into Emily and Matt and explain what's just happened. Chris and Ashley go back to the lodge after the traumatic event, and Matt and Emily head to the cable car station to try and get some help. With the next chapter starting, we're with Mike, who's followed the unknown figure back to the sanatorium that sits on the mountain. Lots of collectibles are found in here, which uncovers a disturbing backstory of the experiments and the missing miners. When we make it to the stranger's domain, we also meet a wolf who, if we can keep alive, nets us the trophy, the Skillful Wolfman. That won't actually pop until after chapter 9, but our choices here determine whether we will have a chance to save him or not. So for now, Mike is a friend to help him. He also gets his hands on a pistol, but almost blasts himself when exploring the tunnels. And as Mike lies presumably unconscious, Matt and Emily arrive at the cable car station only to find the place is a mess, which it wasn't just mere hours ago. After realising they don't have the key for the cable car, they notice a map with a fire tower on it, so decide the next plan of action is to go there and radio for help. On the way there, a strange glitch occurred, which appeared to show the Northern Lights had immigrated into my PS5. After reaching the edge of the cliff and enjoying the view of the fall that is destined to kill them, Matt and Emily are cornered by some lovely deer, and the focus is shifted to Sam. Talk about a cliffhanger. Now with Sam, another important segment is about to play out. She climbs out the bath and begins to explore the lodge in just her towel.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Upon reaching the basement, she is snuck up on by the clown mask wearing attacker and a chase scene begins. Back in 2021, this is where the trophy, the psychopath, would have popped for me by attacking him. So let's just pretend that it did. After doing this, we continue to run away before successfully hiding from the psycho to make sure Sam lives. Chapter 6 is where things really start to amp up. Matt and Emily slowly make their way through the deer so that they can get to that radio tower they seen on the map, upon arriving at which they climb the ladder to get in it. The radio is not working, so after a bit of looking around we get the power turned back on and find a flare gun, which is given to Matt as this is a must in both playthroughs, but I'll tell you more on that later. After radioing for help and getting told no one can get to them until dawn, it becomes clear that something more sinister than a killer lurks on the mountain as a cable holding the tower up is sliced, causing it to collapse with both of them still in sight. It's a Wendigo, by the way. The decision to not save Emily is both required and joyous because she sucks. With Matt jumping to safety and the tower falling further into the mine, we jump back to Chris and Ashley at the lodge looking for Sam as she is obviously no longer taking her bath. A lot of creepy stuff happens here, including some paranormal sightings, a dollhouse organised the way it was before the twins died, and other weird stuff. Further down, they're ambushed by the psycho and tied up in another Saw-style trap where Chris has to decide whether to point the gun at himself or Ashley. There are 2 trophies linked to this decision, both awarded in a later chapter, but for now we choose not to shoot anyone and the chapter comes to a close. In chapter 7, Sam's made her way into the psycho's workshop and I forgot to start recording until I was right at the end of the segment, but started recording just in time to find the last collectible for the Mystery Man clue line and getting the You Opened Their Eyes trophy. We are then grabbed at the ankles by Mike, who has discovered a tunnel leading from the lodge straight to the sanatorium, so we open the door to let him in, and then the big plot twist occurs. The gun Chris was told to use was loaded with blanks, so both him and Ashley couldn't have died, and then the psycho takes off his mask and reveals himself to be Josh. The trap from earlier actually had a fake body in it. That's how Josh is still alive. He has set everything up as a revenge plan for the prank that was played on his sisters. We then go back to Emily dangling from the fire tower in the mines and start to make our way through them while picking up more collectibles, and unfortunately here I pick one up and I let go of R2 too quick, so the clue didn't register. Lucky enough we have to play through again, so I wasn't too worried about it now. At the end of this section, Emily runs straight into the path of the flamethrower wielding stranger and also resides in the mountain. After trying to escape, she is left with nowhere to go and the stranger finds her. Back at the lodge, Josh explains everything to the group before he's restrained and moved away from the lodge. It becomes clear he has not dealt with the loss of his sisters well at all, and he's gone a wee bit batshit crazy. The guys take him to the shed before Mike offers to stay there and watch Josh until morning so the police can deal with him, and Chris heads back to the lodge to let the girls know everything is fine. Or is it? At the start of chapter 8, we are shown the stranger might actually be sound as he gives Emily a bag and tells her to run away. This begins another chase scene in which choices made here have a significant impact on Emily's future. We have to make sure she gets bitten by the Wendigo, so certain actions must be done or have already been made. Specifically, earlier on at the fire tower, if Emily didn't give the flare gun to Matt and kept it for herself, she would have the option to shoot it at the Wendigo whilst moving up the conveyor belt, which would mean the Wendigo would be fought off and unable to bite her. So thankfully, we gave it to Matt, and she gets her shoulder munched at the top after locking the door. We then use this makeshift zip line to get away from the Wendigo and run back to the lodge to warn the others. Mike hears the screaming and leaves Josh tied up in the shed to investigate. While Emily tries to explain everything, there's a knock at the door and the stranger makes his way into the lodge to tell the group about the curse of the Wendigo. It's here that Chris realises Josh is alone at the shed and offers to go get him, but the stranger insists that he goes along as Chris doesn't know what he's getting into. Upon reaching the shed, they discover Josh is no longer there, and it's best to just head back to the lodge and not look for him. Then everyone goes tits up as the Wendigo attacks, taking out the stranger and chasing Chris all the way back to the lodge. Here, another perfect run is required, as any missed shots results in Chris's death. So after shooting the Wendigo every time I had the chance, we get back to the lodge, and since I didn't shoot Ashley in the trap, she opens the door to let him in. I guess that also kind of gives away what happens if you choose to shoot her, but we will see that in a bit anyways. While taking refuge down in the basement, the group notice the bite on Emily and panic. This leads to an argument, and Mike telling her to leave before raising his gun towards her, thinking that a bite could transform her into a Wendigo, making their safe room unsafe. 2 trophies can be acquired here, so for this run we choose not to shoot her, and at the end of the chapter, whilst Ashley reads the stranger's book, which actually states the bites are nothing to worry about, the trophy Let M In pops. Chapter 9's got us back at the sanatorium as Mike, looking for Josh as he has the cable car key to get everyone off the mountain. This time, Mike finds a shotgun, so as good old JR would say, business is about to pick up. It's here that we run it into our wee pal again, and then another flawless run of QTEs and shotgun blasts need to be completed to make sure the wolves survive. With all that completed, it appears Mike gets caught, but the focus shifts again to Sam, Ashley, Chris and Emily in the sewers looking for the tunnel to the sanatorium to go and rescue Mike. While down in the tunnels, we're given the choice to investigate a voice or rejoin the group. We need to investigate the voice as there's a collectible down here that we need, and we just need to make sure not to open this trapdoor that has a voice screaming inside of it and that appears to be being pushed. They eventually come to an opening, and Sam with her rock climbing ability suggests the rest head back to the lodge and she will climb out of the tunnels to go get Mike. After some more quick time events, we make it out and head up to the sanatorium. After removing the barricade from a door, we open it up to see Mike being attacked, so we save him, head back up the stairs, and he shoots the barrels, causing a huge explosion. This throws him and Sam out into the snow, and as they head back into the mines, the chapter ends and the skillful Wolfman trophy pops for saving our wee pal. With us now in the final chapter, we take control of Josh as he has a mental breakdown in the mines after being dragged there by the Wendigo. Mike and Sam are currently en route to find him, and after jumping into the water and wading through it, we find a journal down here, which is the last collectible for the twins' clue line, and gives us the trophy, The Tale of Two Sisters. This journal fully explains what happened with Hannah and Beth, and is pivotal for keeping Josh alive as he learns the truth from it. After heading back through the water and opening a door, we finally find Josh, and again, Sam climbs out the hard way, and Mike takes Josh back through the water, as there's no way he is fit to climb out of the mines. It's in this water that the Wendigo snatches Josh and carries him away again, and Mike shows his first real sign of weakness, and he just hides. We then see Matt and Jessica finding each other in the mines, and we are now tasked with making sure that we save the two of them. This section is really short, so after just hiding together twice and completing the don't move minigame in each hiding spot, they're both safe. We then move back over to Sam. Having climbed out of the mines, we find the last totem on the ground and get the Knight of the Totem Hunter trophy. Then, after running back to the lodge, Mike suddenly appears behind her, looking a bit worse for wear, so we head down to the basement to find the others. However, the Wendigos are already there. This is the last part of the game, and it's actually pretty simple. With the group all stood on the main floor of the lodge, the Wendigos get into a bit of a scrap and cause a gas leak. This is where the ending can go either of two ways. For now though, we want everyone to live. So when Mike breaks the light bulb and the Wendigo goes for him, Sam has to save Mike. Then after that, we just need to make her hide every time we have the choice, and each time she hides, another character gets out of the lodge. After Mike runs out and Sam's the only one left, she makes a daring run for the light switch, flicking it, causing the whole lodge to go up in flames. And as dawn breaks and the helicopters roll in due to Emily's reports over the radio in the fire tower, the 4 trophies pop for keeping everyone alive and brings our first playthrough to a close.
Hold on, I'm seeing something. It looks like there are survivors. Let's pick them up.
Now all that remained to do was go back and play through the second half of the game again. Thankfully, chapter select means we can pick the game up for chapter 6. But because I'm stupid, I had to start episode 5 with Mike in the sanatorium so that I can investigate this bear trap causing Mike to get his finger stuck. And then, hacking them off with a machete gives us the trophy Scream 2, which is awarded after we successfully hide as Sam at the end of that chapter. Fast forward into chapter 6 and we basically make the same choices regarding the flare gun so that Emily will get bit again in chapter 8. But when playing as Matt, if we choose to save her twice after the fire tower collapses, He will fall to a lower ledge and be killed by the Wendigo in some Dead by Daylight fashion. And then, back at the shooting game, Chris shoots Ashley to get the trophy, Fatal Grudge. No major decisions need to be made in Chapter 7, but I went back and got the only collectible that was missed in the first playthrough to finish the 1952 clues and got the trophy, the Fateful Descent. Both trophies in Chapter 8 didn't pop until the end, but once we have made sure Emily's bitten again in Chapter 8, we take control of Chris again, and after running from the Wendigos back to the lodge, he asks Ashley to let him in, but considering he wanted to offer with the gun in the trap in Chapter 6, she says no chance and watches him die. Then, when the group are holed up in the basement, this time we just have Mike shoot Emily due to the bite, and then shortly after, both Ashley snaps and the exorcism of Emily pop. While down in the sewers / mines in Chapter 9, playing as Ashley, we have her separate from Sam and make sure she opens this trapdoor. To get done in and get the trophy, you let the wrong one in. Nearing the finale again, we make sure not to pick up Hannah's diary, as this will make sure that Josh doesn't make it, as the Wendigo will crush his skull in the water. When playing as Jessica in the mines, the Wendigo run up on her and just simply don't do anything, and she's out the game. Then, while in the final scene in the cabin, upon making sure we fail the don't move segments, Sam will be next to go down, and then the heroic Mike will sacrifice himself by blowing up the lodge with the Wendigos inside.
Huh? Huh? How's that for you? Fuck!
We have visual. The main structure is completely destroyed. Over.
Only one trophy remained, and the recording for this section was corrupted and I couldn't retrieve it. But to get the remaining trophy, we just had to use Chapter Select again to replay Chapter 10. And once Mike breaks the light bulb, instead of Sam saving him, she makes a run for the door, flicking the switch and blowing the lodge up for the trophy Instant Inferno. And then right after that, we got the Platinum, a symphony of horror stories. Until Dawn is a great game, and if for some reason you haven't played it yet, go give it a go. As usual, if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one.